Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin, and today I have an unboxing video for you. And it's a little bit different than a lot of the unboxing videos that I do, in that I'm talking right now and giving a little bit of an explanation about what you're about to see. So I don't know if you remember when you were a kid and you went to school, and somewhere in one of your math classes you learned about probability. And so you would talk about dice, and if you rolled a die, you had a 1 in 6 chance of getting a certain number. And then if you rolled it a bunch of times, what are the chances that you would get a number in sequence, and things of that nature. So we used to have a running joke here back in the day that when NGC or PCGS took coins, they kind of had like some ladders and steps and stairs, kind of like Cubert. I don't know if you remember Cubert, but you had the stairs with all these little levels on them, and each one had a different grade, like MS62, 3, 4, 5, and they would just throw the coins up there, and wherever they landed, that would be the grade of the coin. And that was kind of our running joke here about how they used to grade coins. So the point about that is, if you send in a bunch of coins, you're going to get a lot of different grades, typically speaking. So if you send in a dozen or so coins and they all come back the same grade, it kind of makes you wonder. So enjoy the video and get ready to leave comments. Okay, so we're starting off swinging for the fences here with this 1892 V-nickel, and it has really nice luster to it all the way around. And so we're going to take a closer look at this guy, and you'll see a couple things right away on this coin. First of all, nice degree of luster. Nickels tend to have a lot of well, over the time they can almost just lose their luster, their sheen. They can have a flat look. You'll notice I'm drawn right away to the AM area where you have some contact. It looks like they just kind of got beat down a little bit over there. And then on this side, right away you're drawn to the, decent sized contact marks to the left of Liberty's face, right in front of her. But overall, you're going to like this coin, right? It's really bright and lustrous, and I said I was going to do this video a little differently, so I am going to do this video a little differently. So we've got this lovely 1892, really great luster. Okay, so we're going to compare coins, because what you're about to find out is I have some V-nickels. I got V-nickels for days. Fun little group in. And it's a pretty challenging set, by the way, to put together a bunch of V-nickels. This coin also is lustrous, but you can tell it's not as bright. Let's get that focused in there, Ben. It's not as bright and lustrous as the 1892 was. This is the 1888. And in general terms, it doesn't have the big contact marks to it that the 92 had, but you can see the field is really clean. And once again, the quality of the surfaces is going to vary pretty widely on these V-nickels as we take a look at them. Okay, so we're going to go like around the horn here with this, like we're playing. What are you doing? That's a basketball term, basketball reference. We're going to kind of make a semicircle or a... All right, so 1893. And you'll notice right away those fields. Okay, this, my friends, is what a proof looks like. So one of the things that's nice about this proof is it really has nice reflective fields, strong reflective fields. And we're going to look a little closer. Now on this side of the coin, you're going to see some gentle abrasions to it. So the coin is definitely still what you'd call an uncirculated grade. It's not going to be like a proof 55 or anything like that. You can see those nice high white points, almost a little bit of a cameo effect on the back. And then on the front, I got to get the light right so you can see that there are some fine abrasions across the surface of this coin. But overall, there's not big contact marks. Okay, there we go, right? So right now you see the streaks coming right across her face. Like she's got a little bit of a mustache, and that is some small abrasions. There are other small abrasions in the field when you get it at the right angle. You can see some of these really refined abrasions. Let me see if I can get a good look at it with the 20 power on this guy. And so for proofs that quality oftentimes aren't big contact marks that you'll see normally, like you would see on a uncirculated coin, it's usually going to be these surface quality abrasions. It's hard to get used to it because especially on the more modern coins, when we're looking at some of those Franklin halves and Kennedy halves from this, 1950s and 60s, it can be harder to see. So you got to get the light just right though, because now you see on her neckline, there's lines popping up. I wanted to make sure I got a close enough view so you can see that. So you guys can kind of judge for yourself how you'd grade this coin, because overall, it's really nice, but it does have the abrasion. So to me, you're going to be looking at something that's kind of an average, not above average, nothing like that. Okay. Moving on, we're chronological here. If I put them back in order, chronological. Okay, 1898. Once again, we got the high luster, the high sheen, and we're going to take a nice up close look here. So she's got a few scrapes on the face there too that you may or may not have seen on the previous coins. The fields though are really nice. It's really a clean field. And then on the back of the coin also relatively contact free. Now when I talk about surface quality, especially on nickels, what you'll start to notice on this coin is the luster is muted when we get closer to the rim, the periphery. So look at the luster in the center of the coin. As we turn it, it's kind of brightish. And then out towards the word United, you see how it's just kind of darker in the outlying fields? So, the way that nickel can tone sometimes, it can really be unattractive. Same thing here around the stars. There's stars upon stars. You can see a little bit on the rim of the coin. There's some darkness, some schmutz. And so really on this coin, it's probably the type of thing if you had it really professionally conserved, not by some guy on YouTube, you could go ahead and probably get some of that off and really bring the coin back to life. I think especially on the reverse where it's really muted around the edges, that if you went ahead and got that professionally conserved, you could really do something nice to that coin. Get it looking like new again. All right. 1900, The Legend of 1900, one of my favorite movies you've probably never heard of. So this coin, you're going to see also full luster on the coin. This one, in my opinion, has a little bit more going on in a negative fashion on the front of the coin. So you can see some of those contact marks in front of her face, a little bit on the cheek, on the neckline, there's a little spot there. Behind her head, of course, is a pretty nice clean open field. Overall, the luster is pretty good though. Bright again, once again with these nickels, some of them are just kind of dull. So, having something that has a nice bright finish to it is something that is kind of a quality when you talk about overall quality for putting the set together. Trying to find stuff with a nice, bright, clean surface is a challenge for these V-nickels especially. The V-nickel, I will say, is a little bit easier to get a decent looking coin versus a buffalo nickel. I mean, the buffalo nickel, some of those things just come dark, 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 especially the earlier issues. 1901. You'll see once again we're looking at a coin that has pretty clean fields, and you'll see also some of the darkness on the periphery. All right, this guy has some darkness over there in the word America. We're looking for contact marks. We're looking at luster. We're looking at overall eye appeal. And once again, this coin appears to be a pretty decent coin. It's uncirculated. It doesn't really have any big contact marks or bag marks. This 1901. 1902. And now this coin here, right away you can see this is like a little bit of Scarface going on, right? This has a couple strikes against it. First of all, although it's got similar luster and eye appeal to some of the other coins, you've got these big marks on her face, so this is going to be a lower grade coin. And then once again, the quality of the nickel itself, like the metal, you see a lot of spotting here on the left side. And that quality on the surface material itself. And one of the difficulties is that over time, even if a coin's in a holder and you want to look at it close, because if it has too many of those little spots, like here's under the T and E in United, you'll see some dark spots. There's always a concern that over time that stuff can start to rear its ugly head and come back around again. In other words, it'll start to deteriorate the surface quality of the coin. All right, 1904. Let's just take a far out view of this guy for a second. And get an idea, feel for the overall appeal of the coin. A little bit similar to a lot of the coins we've looked at here, where it's relatively problem-free. It has some, you're not going to call this wood grain toning like you would on a penny, but it's got a little bit of that haze toning across it that looks like wood grain, where it comes just across the surface. This one so far is amongst my favorite because actually that quality, you see the surface quality there, just kind of how nice and clean it looks. Even though it has that touch of haze to it, it just has an overall brightness quality to the metal that some of the other ones did not have. You know, so far the 04 is among my favorite coins in the group. Apparently we're counting by twos though. This guy must have not collected odd number years. That's just funny. So, because now we're at 1906. So in this one, we've got a few extra contact marks on this coin compared to some of the other ones. You can see some of the contact marks just on her cheek. She's got a little bit of a, that's not a scratch, but then on her neckline, there's a mark. There's some marking right on her neck. The reverse of the coin, pretty nice. You have some contact marks over outside of the T and the E again on both sides of the T and the E in United. But you don't really have much spotting or anything like that. The overall nickel quality is pretty good. Very lustrous. Overall, I think I wouldn't grade it quite as high as that 04, but I think that overall it's a pretty good coin. 1908. All right, the 08. See, this is an interesting coin, you know, when you talk about studying nickel and the material, because overall, it's one of the brightest coins. It has the strongest brightness and luster to it. But it also has a little bit of a detriment here, and that is not so much on the reverse of the coin, which has just a little bit of toning to it, but on the obverse of the coin, you'll catch those spots, like in her hairline, and especially when you're at that angle. See, at this angle, you don't hardly see anything, and this is where you watch out for those eBay photos. And then at this angle, you're like, oh man, she needs to use some dandruff control shampoo. And there's some spots in front of her face also. So this becomes a difficult one to judge and grade because the coin looks nicer than the other ones, but I would have a little bit of concern about, you know, how those spots are going to turn out over time. All right, so, all right, and we're not going to count by twos only, but we did go from 04 to 06 to 08 to 10. And this one, I'm going to give something away on this one because this was an oopsie on my part. This was like, I wasn't really looking that close. I shouldn't say I wasn't looking that close. I just didn't hardly notice, because from a distance you don't notice. You know, I pulled out the coins that I thought would make the grade and sent them in. Now there's something going on in this coin that's going to cause it to not get a full grade on it. And at first you don't even notice. Now look at the date. And now look at the stars. Okay, let's look a little closer. Look a little closer and you will see scrape, scrape, scrapity, scrape, scrape all the way around. So this one they called Details obverse damage. The crazy thing is when I first got this coin back, I'm like, obverse damage? You're damaged. So of course, because I'm looking for some real big atrocity, and then it was some type of metal contact all the way around that coin from the date through the stars. Almost you had something cylindrical go across it and cause some problems. All right, just a couple more here. Finally, we get to an even number here for whatever reason. And okay. Finally, we get to an even, what? I said even. Finally, we get to an odd number with 1911. And this tone, you know, coin has a lot of toning to it. So we're talking about the surface quality. It's not as bright as some of the other coins at all. You see kind of how subdued it is. I still thought it was a decent uncirculated coin, but I wouldn't grade it as nice as the other ones because of the surface quality. Now, you run into surface quality issues a lot more with ancients. That's how they grade them. But you know, on this coin, it's even though it's pretty contact free, I just wouldn't grade it as high with the toning and that dark streak across it. I would grade this coin a little bit lower than the other coins that we've seen so far. All right, finally I've got, this is actually the last two coins here. I got this 1912. Interestingly enough, this coin has a lot of toning to it, but I actually kind of like the toning on it. The coin itself is still really bright, and you see that tone is really kind of pleasant. You know, once again, when I was talking about brightness and surface quality, you know, this coin has a lot more going on for it as far as the overall quality of the surface goes. And so I don't think that I would discount this coin like I would the other one. So if you look at the difference between that 11 and 12, I mean, to me, even though the 12 has toning to it, the 11, when I looked at them up close, it just looked subdued. It didn't look quite as nice as far as the coin goes. All right, last but not least, this one here, which I will also reveal to you before I reveal the other ones, because it had a net grade also. By the way, there's your Denver Mint, your little D right there. The V-nickels were struck almost entirely at the Philadelphia Mint, except for the last year where they struck them at Denver and San Francisco. This one has some funky like oil grease pan toning to it, which I kind of liked, but I'm not so sure it wasn't sure if it was original. They actually called this Details Cleaned. All right, Details Cleaned. I don't know what they're using. Maybe they thought that the color on it was the cleaning, like it had some toning to it, but overall, you know, that if that toning is fake, then they call it cleaned. All right, so thanks for bearing with me on this. So this 1892, we're going back in time. First coin, lot of luster, biggest contact marks. The entire series, this coin has the biggest contact marks, MS63. All right, 1888, MS62. The 93 proof, 62. The 98, 62. Are you getting a pattern here? The 1900, they gave me a 63. Okay. And then the 01, 62. 02 was, 02 was the one that had the big hits on the face and, you know, big scar face. Damaged. Okay. Like, this is a coin that should be a 62. And that's what they call it, damaged. 04, 62. 06, 62. These guys got bought into the even number only thing with the 62s. 08, 62. 1911, 1912, 62, 62. What in the world? Like, this is like rolling dice and getting, you know, snake eyes 7, 8, 9 times in a row. Can you guys help me out on this? I mean, they differentiated here. I don't know what to do. By the way, for those of you who've been so upset because I haven't been getting bad grades on my coins lately, go ahead, just go put a little applause sign down there in the box. Just let me know that you're so happy that I got hosed on this. I don't think hosed is the right term, but come on. Okay, so for the record, these were sent in on the economy service, okay, which I'm going to have a lot of coins coming back in the near future from the economy service, and I'm just not so sure I'm going to be doing that anymore. Because can you please tell me why these coins aren't 3s or better? I mean, I'm okay with having some of them come back 2s. We looked at the different quality. There is different quality on these coins. They are not 80%, 90% MS62s. And the coin with the biggest hits on it gets a 3. Oy vey, people. Oy vey. All right, I'm going to add one more comment to this before you guys just have fun putting your LOLs in the chat box. This coin here I just want to talk about briefly. The proof coin, because for those of you who want a nice coin, that's just a fun collector coin, a little bit over 2,000 pieces made. Attractive. The technical grade, I'm not too upset about. I mean, they could have called it a 3, but, you know, like I pointed out, the little haziness on the surface of the coin, you know, it's okay at a 62. But, you know, a coin that's for a couple $100, you get a really a neat coin. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for joining in my misery. Leave your comments down below in the box and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.